A man who has twice been deported from the U.S. received a 37-year prison sentence for a string of burglaries in Collin County. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Blake Hansen. Sergio Cardenas Salinas pleaded guilty to leading a criminal burglary operation targeting gold, jewelry, and cash. He and several others were arrested last year. Prosecutors say they targeted victims of mostly South Asian descent. Fox News' David Tendry spoke with one of the victims and joins us live from the Plano Police Department. David?
Well, the twice deported ringleader of these burglaries targeted immigrant families, believing they keep a lot of cash on hand and other valuables.
And they were targeting them.
30-year-old Sergio Cardenas Salinas, a twice deported citizen of Honduras, is now sentenced to 37 years in prison for leading an organized criminal operation responsible for nearly a dozen high-profile burglaries in Collin County last year.
You know, it's alarming to think of someone who's been twice deported can come back over and be the ringleader of organized crime right here in Collin County.
District Attorney Greg Willis says Cardenas Salinas was the ringleader of a group based in Houston, consisting of 9 crew members from Central and South America.
Here we've got Venezuela, Honduras, and Guatemala.
The group allegedly drove to Collin County to target residents of Asian, South Asian, and Middle Eastern descent, believing they were easy targets.
And kept extra amounts of cash and valuables in their homes.
Are y'all still feeling somewhat scared knowing that this invasion of privacy happened?
Yes, of course.
This man, who does not want to show his face, had his apartment broken into at this complex in Plano and about $20,000 worth of items stolen.
But unfortunately, as soon as I stepped into my house, the whole of the house is upside down, so that really frightened us.
He immigrated from India in 2017. In total, 10 families were victimized throughout Plano, Prosper, and McKinney.
There's a certain cruel irony there. I mean, we have legal migrants and citizens here contributing to Collin County. They've come to our country for safety. They've come to our country for opportunity. And now they've got somebody who has no respect for the law, never should have been here in the first place, being the ringleader on exploiting them and harming them and stealing from them.
Plano police detectives gathered surveillance footage to identify suspect vehicles. The group was arrested in September of last year. The ringleader is the first to be convicted.
We put this all in front of a jury, and jury said, this man needs to go down for 37 years.
No word on what's next for the other 8 suspects. That 30-year-old ringleader is the oldest of the group. The youngest right now, 19 years old. Heather, Blake, back to you.
The Fort Worth police officer arrested for a road rage incident while off duty has now been fired.
Fort Worth's police chief said William Martin used unjustified force when he shot a driver he said struck his car, drove off, and later tried to ram his car as he chased the driver. Martin had already been arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon over the incident. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager live in Fort Worth with reaction to the firing. Peyton?
Blake, and after 19 years with the Fort Worth Police Department, Officer William Martin has been fired. This comes after an administrative investigation. In a press release earlier today, Fort Worth Police Chief Neil Noakes said, quote, "The Fort Worth Police Department will hold officers accountable for wrongdoing." Friday, the Fort Worth Police Department announced Officer William Martin has been fired after using unjustified force in an off-duty shooting last month. On September 3rd, Martin called 911 to report a Ford F-150 pickup truck hit his Honda near I-35W in Morningside Drive and then took off. The officer told dispatch he was chasing the truck and then opened fire when the other driver tried to ram his personal vehicle. The driver of the truck, identified as Samuel Christopher, was shot and survived his injuries. In Martin's signed statement, he alleged Christopher was the aggressor. Martin maintains his innocence, insisting Christopher struck his vehicle and then threatened the lives of other drivers. However, Christopher claimed he wasn't aware he collided with Martin's vehicle. Christopher also told police Martin was following him and he didn't realize Martin was a police officer. Christopher's attorneys spoke to reporters on September 24th, shortly after Martin was arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Mr. Christopher remained in his vehicle while Officer Martin continued toward his pickup truck from Mr. Christopher's left side. Fearing for his life, Mr. Christopher turned his vehicle to the right to drive away from Officer Martin. It was then that Officer Martin opened fire.
Martin, a 19-year veteran with Fort Worth Police, does have a disciplinary history.
The quicker that they could solve an issue, the better.
That's Bob Ray Sanders' reaction Friday to the firing of Officer Martin. Sanders, a former co-chair of Fort Worth's Race and Culture Task Force.
There are people who thought that he should have been fired years ago, and certainly after this incident, fired immediately.
In 2016, Martin was suspended for excessive force during the controversial arrest of Jacqueline Craig and her daughter. Videos showed him throwing the women to the ground. Charges against the two women were later dropped, and Craig's family received a $150,000 settlement from the city of Fort Worth. For the 2016 case, Martin served a 10-day suspension. 8 years later, Martin is now fired from the force.
Without a doubt, this offers some transparency. Keep in mind that the Fort Worth Police Department had a history for a long time of mistrust on the part of the community. Chief notes that I consider to be a good chief. He's trying. I know he's under all kinds of pressure, but for him to come out now and say, okay, after our investigation, we think that the proper thing to do is to relieve this person of duty, to get him out of the department.
And we reached out to Martin's attorneys for a statement on the firing. They got back to us calling the termination, quote, the foreseeable result of a garbage investigation. And we also reached out to Christopher's attorneys. They got back to us saying that right now they do not want to make any type of statement on camera or a written statement about this firing. Blake and Heather?
All right, Peyton Yeager, thank you.
A former medical assistant arrested again last week on a second indecency charge with a child remains in jail tonight. Police say the most recent charge against Angel Nunez involves a 9-year-old victim, and they provided more evidence of potentially illegal behavior around other minors at a pediatric center in Irving. Fox 4's David Centenry is outside the Dallas County Jail with our update. David.
Well, Angel Nunez is not and has never been a physician. His main job task was to take vital signs, according to Irving Police Department. Now they say he was using his job to inappropriately touch young boys. Irving police say a 9-year-old boy is the latest victim of indecency with a child, allegedly at the hands of 25-year-old pediatric assistant Angel Nunez. Police say Nunez, who worked at Little Spurs Pediatrics in Irving and other locations, showed a pattern of taking children to exam rooms without their parents and telling them they need a genitalia test. The 9-year-old told forensic investigators Nunez took him to a room away from his mother to perform the test, which he was not authorized or trained to perform. Nunez was first charged on September 5th for allegedly fondling a 14-year-old boy. Nunez posted a $100,000 bond 2 days later. At the time, Fox 4 spoke with Nunez over the phone. Police were saying that you would take these kids into a different room and talk to them about having a hernia exam. Nunez denied the allegations. On Thursday, he was booked back into Dallas County Jail for the charge against the 9-year-old and has a $300,000 bond. On Monday, Fox 4 went to Nunez's listed address in Grand Prairie. It's located across the street from a recreation center and an elementary school. Nunez's family members did not want to speak on camera, but say the allegations are not in his character and they support him. The affidavit also lists allegations against Nunez that have not resulted in criminal charges, but show a pattern of behavior. A 17-year-old claims that back in March, Nunez tried to watch him provide a urine sample at the clinic, then later took the 17-year-old's phone number from medical records and contacted him numerous times, asking him to hang out. Nunez worked at Little Spurs pediatric facilities in Irving, Fort Worth, Arlington, and Grand Prairie. The clinic says that once it was made aware of these allegations, it immediately contacted Child Protective Services. Irving Police Department believes there are more victims out there.
Police in North Richland Hills arrested a driver they say drove drunk, struck and killed a 64-year-old man right in front of his own home. Jose Velez's family says he was walking to his car when the driver hit him. First responders tried life-saving measures, but it wasn't enough. His daughter spoke with Fox 4's Peyton Yeager today, saying she is at a complete loss for a man who was her everything. Peyton is in North Richland Hills. Peyton.
Steve, and the victim's daughter tells me all of this took place so fast. Before her dad was killed, they were actually having a conversation on the front porch, and then she went inside to do a laundry. She tells me she had no clue that would be their final conversation.
My dad's gone, just like that. Just a random stranger took my dad away. And it literally happened like in front of my house.
Monday, Daniela Valles described to Fox 4 her father's final moments.
He was on his way to my sister's house.
Orange cones marked the spot where 64-year-old Jose Valles was killed by an alleged drunk driver Sunday evening. It happened in a neighborhood west of Roof Snow Drive in Boulevard 26. Daniela says she was inside doing laundry and had just said goodbye to her dad, who was going to get in his vehicle parked on the street.
All I heard is a big boom. I ran out to the door, and I just see my dad on the floor. I yelled, "Help, help."
Jose Valles had a critical head injury and was rushed to the hospital where he later died. His vehicle was also sideswiped. This photo was taken by a neighbor and sent to Fox 4.
He passed away in the room. They couldn't do anything about it.
Meanwhile, North Richland Hills police say the driver who struck the 64-year-old didn't stop. Nearby witnesses chased down the suspect, who eventually was taken into custody. Investigators haven't identified the driver publicly yet. It's still unclear how fast the suspect was going. The speed limit in this neighborhood is 30 miles per hour.
We've been having problems with the street for quite a while.
Daniela says speeding outside her childhood home has been a common issue. A home where her dad raised her and her siblings and was helping raise his grandchildren as well.
But I'm just gonna miss him. He did everything, like literally everything for me. I'm really hurt.
And we are still waiting at this hour for the suspect to be transferred from North Richland Hills Police Department to the Tarrant County Jail. Once that suspect is booked at the jail, North Richland Hills Police tell me that driver will be charged with intoxication, manslaughter, and collision involving death, leaving the scene, and failure to render aid.
Dallas police have asked Fox 4's Sean Rapp to help try and find the person or persons responsible for the murder of a 34-year-old Dallas man 9 months ago. Good evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley. Cody Ward was described as a super Dallas Mavericks fan and a man with no enemies, but someone took his life. Fox 4's Sean Rapp joins us with the story. Sean.
And right now, Clarice, this is a case that has more questions than answers. And sometimes you find cases like that, especially murder cases. And this, the case of Cody Ward, one of those right now. What has the last 9 months been like since January 11th? What's that been like?
It's pretty hard to describe, Sean. This is something that you never would have think happened or never would have thought would have happened to you or your family. It has really changed our lives tremendously.
Carlton Ward with daughter Cortland is talking about the day he found his son, Cody Ward, murdered in his condominium at 5100 Verde Valley Lane in Dallas.
He loved life. Cody loved life. You know, he skied, he hunted, he four-wheeled. Huge Maverick fan. Had season tickets.
Cody was one of 3 children. His brother, a doctor out of state. His sister, a local lawyer.
My brother was one of my best friends, and he was passionate about life.
Cody worked with his father, a retired Dallas firefighter, in the family business. He also had an apparel line and produced music beats for local rappers. His dad went to his condo when he didn't show up for work or answer his phone January 11th.
I'm trying to find a key. I don't have a key. I can't get in. So finally, I just broke a window and went upstairs. And go upstairs in the bedroom to the left, I mean, I can tell something had happened. It holes in the walls, clothes everywhere, stuff turned over.
It looked like it had been a fight or something?
A fight. It's been a hell of a fight.
Whoever he was fighting with pulled a gun, shooting and killing him.
On January 10th, the afternoon or the evening, someone that Cody knew came over here and did this. The door was locked. It was someone that he knew. It was someone that he was familiar with.
Detective Jaleesa Reed says she has found nothing that might lead to this.
No enemies that I know of, but I do know that people talk. People talk. There isn't a perfect crime, so someone told someone, and I want that someone to come forward.
I wish they would come forward to give us peace of mind and give us a closing on Cody.
That's all we can get right now. We can't get Cody back, so this is what we need to kind of not move on, but just keep going and push forward.
Crime Stoppers offering a $15,000 reward. Detective Jaleesa Reed hoping someone will come forward. You can remain anonymous. Her cell phone number, her email right now on your screen. This case, Clarice, of course, has been open 9 months. It could be open a lot longer unless someone comes forward and does the right thing.
Sean, thank you.
Lewisville police officers acted quickly to arrest a man for a deadly shooting that happened at a business across the street from a police station.
So the shooting happened late this morning, but details surrounding it remain vague. We do know it happened inside a business and that the victim and the suspected shooter knew one another. Fox 4's David Santendry live in Lewisville. David.
Yeah, as of now, police have not released the name of the woman who was shot and killed, and they also have not released the name of that suspected shooter who has been taken over to the Denton County Jail. Police say they knew one another, but at this point in time, it's unclear how.
Targeted her and shot her.
It was inside this Lewisville business where police say people witnessed one of their coworkers being shot at her desk while on lunch break Thursday.
They're still trying to process what just happened in front of them.
Lewisville police officer Rachel Roberts recalls hearing of the shooting just after 11:30 in the morning.
I was in my office and I watched a bunch of our CID officers go running out saying there's an active shooter at 1825 Lakeway.
That address sounded closely familiar.
And I quickly realized that is directly behind me in my office.
The department shares a parking lot with Allegiance trucks. Police arrived on scene within minutes and say the suspect was inside giving himself up.
He was already on his knees with his hands in the air with no weapon showing.
Police say they recovered a gun. The woman was pronounced dead before arriving at a hospital.
And we still haven't got a clear picture of what their relationship was, if they even had a relationship.
A door handle is broken at the front entrance of the business. It's unclear if that's from police, the shooter, or someone else. It appears people need a code or badge to get in. It's unclear if the suspected shooter worked there or had some sort of access. The department says it's interviewing a couple dozen witnesses.
Some were inside, some were outside, and some had nothing to do with it. They were just in the vicinity when this was going on.
We last exchanged messages with Lewisville Police Department about an hour and a half ago, and a spokesperson said that the suspected shooter is still in the booking process over at the Denton County Jail, awaiting for a mugshot to be taken. Once that's uploaded, we'll expect to get some more information, name, date of birth, etc., and we'll hope to get you that information as soon as possible. But for now, Heather and Blake, I'll send it back to y'all.
All right, David.